I have charged the affairs man of the United States Embassy, Abuja, David, with me this morning. And a very good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you much. Abuja, you can hook up with us on YouTube at Nigeria Abuja and Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja. And if you're yet to subscribe to our channel, I don't know what to tell you, a whole lot. But you want to look at Green right now? You go to the YouTube. He looks more than me today. We'll talk about it. And it's good to have you. And a big thank you to your team that came with you, Trin, Aisha, who are making sure that we have also session this morning. Thank you for coming, guys. And let's dive into it. United States, Nigeria, we've had like a whole relationship. The marriage is stronger, tighter, whether you like it or not. Let's talk about the relationship between the new Nigeria government and the United States government at stats right now.
Thank you. And again, thanks for having me on the show. Well, you know, obviously, the Nigeria and the United have a lot in common. And Nigeria, with continent's largest democracy, economy, is not just a critical partner for them, but really an axis in terms of the positive things that we all want to come. Let's see, December of last year at the South Africa Leaders Summit that the President hosted, we really committed to deepening and strengthening our engagement across the continent in just about every sector and field that you can imagine, but with areas like digital inclusion, health, security, food security, African diaspora, and all those areas. Nigeria really has a very special role to play, and it's something that we're really excited about working with the Nigerian people on.
I mean, that is really interesting because we have been very good about the support of the state government, especially when it comes to security in Nigeria, and moving your support, whether through what you call it, especially the humanitarian part country. And we must really thank you. Are there areas of collaboration with the United States and Nigeria to be strengthened to hold it firmly?
I think work together in every field you can imagine that we can always do more in all those sectors. I mean, when we look at the economic area, of course, the United States is one of the leaders in Nigeria. Historically, that's in the oil and gas sector, but the thing not a lot of Nigerians know is that oil and gas is only 7% of GDP, where telecoms is 8%. You know, there's an incredible amount for doing business with in Nigeria, whether it's trade, whether it's investment, and of course, ultimately, that's up to the private sector to make their decisions. Seeing U.S. tech giants like Google and Cisco here and doing more jobs and train young Nigerians. And this is doing everything it can to sort of promote those trade and commercial ties, whether it's bringing trade delegations here, bringing investor, provide support for different institutions and government and the technical aspect to create a foundation for economic growth. So on the economic and trade side, so much going on. On the security side, as you mentioned, we obviously use them out there together both. We provide assistance to the Nigerian armed services and counter improvised explosive device, or how to provide maritime security. We're also working on the civilian side, of course, that are improving the efficiency systems or reducing the number of Nigerians in detention. So we work together on so many different areas of economic security. I could go on, but as you said, the relationship is really
I mean, when we talk about tech, and I'm glad you've mentioned it, giants, talk about Cisco, the mind of the Google, the Facebook, and the like. Looks like we are becoming more materials to the United States when it comes to use some of those applications, and we see a lot of them to start off. How do you view the tech system here in the United States?
Yeah, it's a great question. A few months back, we had the deputy of our Treasury Department, Wally Adeyemo, happens to be an American and from Ibadan originally. Anyway, and one of the things is, Nigeria's resources are not its oil and gas, it's people. And you really see the full flag in the tech sector. There's just creative and capable Nigerians, and Lagos for one, but also in many other locations you become hubs for IT, tech, telecoms, you name it. And so I think, in a sense, we encourage that. It's a sector where we don't, as the U.S. government, have to offer the economic advantage, the commercial advantage. Tech giants being here is already self-evident. But also, we certainly are always looking for opportunities to and provide opportunities in STEM, for example, women, to help Nigerian youth access the resources that they need to succeed to come to the United States. So across the board, I think see potential in the sector. And I'll note that of all capital flowed to Africa last year, 25 to Nigeria. So that really speaks to the birth.
Interesting. Let's lose urgency in Nigeria, and let's take it from the previous Buhari-led administration, Bola Tinubu president now. We are experiencing some form of quiet in terms of insurgency. He's talking about Borno, talking about Yola, some part of the country, as it were. But what is the commitment in fighting and combating? I mean, you have a fantastic relationship with Nigeria. What's your commitment in helping us fight urgency, which has also crossed into a high poverty level in some of those states it were today?
Yeah, well, it's a very complex and one that we're committed to tackling in cooperation and partnership with Nigerian security forces. So, I mean, it depends, which angle you use to look at which prism. We, of course, provide assistance that the Nigerian military and how to provide explosive devices, how to use unmanned aerial vehicles, surveillance, they can track the bad guy. In terms of the Nigerian initiative, of course, Nigeria purchased from the United States close to support aircraft, the 9 Supercanos a couple years ago. I would leave it to the Nigerian Air Force to sort of define the level they've had, but I would say that we believe that's a significant contribution to the services being able to tackle the insurgency with Boko Haram and ISIS. There are things we're doing. one of the things really important is that if you're trying to protect, you have to be making sure that you are getting right guys and harming the civilians. And that's a very important value, one that the Nigerian Army and Air Force are still working on. And so we provide a lot of training in that base, try and help make sure that when they're using those tools, the right people, and that they're not harming civilians. And that's something very important. But sharing the developments you mentioned earlier, you know that region, and you know the poverty is really something, and if the insurgent has done such harm to people's lives. Well, the United States last year aided $1.2 billion in assistance for across the board. Of that, several $100 million in humanitarian assistance for the Northeast. The rest of that money, it goes countrywide in $1 million into health, lots of money for to support economic growth and development, support education improvements, power, clean energy, and they're trying to support the Nigerian government, get electricity to more Nigerians. So we work everywhere together in partnership, and we're really committed to Tinubu administration's efforts to get the economy on the right path and move forward on all these really important socioeconomic indicators.
When you mentioned Tokanu, it also cost a lot of attention here in Nigeria in terms of using it, and I'm glad you're training. But do you think that we have effectively used the Tokanu?
A big component of what we are doing with the Nigerian Air Force, I should say really the Nigerian Air Force, with their support, is something called air-ground integration. How do you, and because it's not pretty technical, but how do you identify what you're looking at in a way that doesn't harm civilians? And ultimately today, as we've said, in the United States uses the phrase informally in a different context, can't kill the problem. Ultimately, you certainly need to use to address the worst and defend your civilians. It's going to be socioeconomic, it's going to be a return of peace, security, and stability to allow for the circumstances, citizens of that part of Nigeria threatened by the insurgency to be able to live their best lives.
Interesting. We'll be right back after the break. It's important that we make some urgent 5K. That's how we business. But I've been speaking to David Green, and together, interesting conversation. You can jump on YouTube or Facebook, see if we can let you in on conversation. But I'm going to stay with us. We'll be right after the break. My name is Effizy.
My name is David Green.
I'm the man of the Saturday, the life and opportunity to restore dignity of Nigeria.
This is Nigeria Info. 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 It's Nigeria Info. This Nigeria Info. This is 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 Nigeria info. This Nigeria info. This is Nigeria info. This is Nigeria info. This is Jew info. This is Nigeria 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 info.
Yeah, sure. So you say, oh, my name is David. I'm hanging with Effizy. Let's walk again. So guys, scratch that. You didn't hear that, but so keep back now. Now.
Hi, I'm David Green, the Chargé d'Affaires, the acting ambassador of the U.S. Embassy here at Effizy. Talk.
Good. Let's get right now. Let's talk about getting visa appointments and the sea of dates. I know that's really a conversation for a lot of my Nigerian brothers and sisters out there. Oh, what happened? There's no date next year. What's going on? I like to see the United States and all of. How are you looking at ease of getting appointments and visas?
Yeah, thanks for asking. We know that a major concern for a lot of Nigerians. Well, there's a fundamental problem here, which is that the demand for appointments exceeds the supply possibly provide. It's just math, and so we can to make the process more efficient. And things aren't helped by the fact that we developed a lot because of COVID, which has still been taken out, believe it or not. But what I think about Nigeria is that the volume of interviews you actually do. So far this year, you have interviewed 100,000 tourist visa applicants and over 1,000 students, in addition to a bunch of other visa categories. We really are stepping up our interview pace and the wait time for students down to about a month. So easily within the realm of folks open for tourist visa application appointments are a lot longer that year, but it's down from several years when we were at the beginning of 2023. So we're doing everything we can to make it more efficient, and we are certainly committed to continue that path. One thing that we did back in March is we lengthened the U.S. visa from 2 years to 5 years. In addition to being a benefit for the individual that gets that visa, over time will reduce the number of Nigerians that are coming in to renew there, because you only have to renew every 5 years instead of every 2. It's going to be a longer process than we'd like, but we are doing what we can to get those numbers down. If somebody has an emergency or a need to travel, there is a process for expedited appointment, and we can usually accommodate those with a legitimate request. And advice is, please be patient with us. Keep on our website for available appointments, expedited appointment if you believe you have a justified reason, and try and apply early if you can use it in advance, especially for students, folks that have plans that they have to make. But we're aware of it.
All right. I mean, good part is that you're aware and you're working work. So Abuja, I mean, that is sorted out. Nobody should say, oh, there's no date. We didn't see dates. Don't care. Thank you. Far too kind. Let's healthcare. What you're doing in terms. You mentioned COVID. I mean, of course, you know how it went in Nigeria, the law and all of that. There was also the thing about vaccines. Trying to convince people. Oh, you know what? Just fixing and all of that. What is the United States doing in terms of healthcare in Nigeria, as it were?
A lot, El. We, on any given year, we've been allocating about $500 million, $500 million for health in Nigeria. That is the PEPFAR, the President's Emergency Program for AIDS Relief, that is 20 years old. This and has resulted in 1 million Nigerians being on life-saving treatment. We've invested $8 billion to PEPFAR alone in Nigeria for 2 decades. And in fact, that's been such a success. We believe that we'll be at epidemic control, which is meeting the UN targets for AIDS in 2 more years by 2025. So it's really quite about the success in that area. And actually, this Friday is World AIDS Day, and this will be the anniversary of PEPFAR. We're really celebrating how far we went and also assessing what more we have to do. When you talk about it, of course, we contributed tens of millions of doses of vaccine to Nigeria to help Nigeria to the government's target goal. We do a lot with the $100 that we put in care in Nigeria. It's not just about providing services, much of it is, but it's also about strengthening. We want to see a Nigerian healthcare system that can provide this kind of care to Nigeria without relying as much as it does. And we have a great partner, a new Canadian Minister for Health, who is widely regarded as a great expert in public health. We work very closely with him, whole team, all the different agencies of the Nigerian government, and we work in malaria, millions of dollars every year to try and reduce the prevalence in Nigeria. A lot of our humanitarians goes for nutrition support, areas where there's unfortunately a lot of poverty and malnutrition. So we're doing everything in partnership with Nigeria and a lot of other like-minded members of the international community, the Global Vaccine Initiative, the Global Fund for HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria. So I could go on about this a lot. I'm very proud of in terms of our collaboration with Nigeria.
Take you to our neighbor, talking about Niger and the whole war in Niger drew some level of attention at the States. What are you doing to, put some measures for any occurrence? Because, of course, you're also doing great work there in terms of humanitarian work and all of the neighbors with us. Very close neighbors. What are you doing for any future occurrence of that?
Well, that's a great question. It's a sort of a regression in democracy in the region of coups and different members of ECO, West Africa, most recently in Niger. It's very distressing, and it threatens security and stability and welfare of the Sahel and in coastal West Africa. So it's very important. We're really very closely with ECOWAS and the ECOWAS member state partners to try and support the constitutional rule in Niger. We, of course, there have been concerts for the leadership in terms of the coup that is us, according to our law, to cut off a lot of the distance that benefits Nigerian citizens. We continue the humanitarian assistance that we provide, and we leave the United States because we are one. Nigeria is a great federal day. We're one as well. That democracy path to achieve the aspirations of citizens of a country, but also, the reality is democracy has to deliver for the people. And, when you look at the themes that are in the region, it's important that it's important that they return to democracy. But those systems, those democracies that build security, economic opportunity that their citizens. So we work on every different aspect and all of our partners in the region to try and drive things in the direction, specifically with regards to Niger and more broadly with regards to improving governance, fighting corruption, and enhancing the ability of democracies to deliver citizens.
If you were to speak to the Nigerians right now, what would be conversation today.
Wow. Well, that's not really my. We have the an ambassador in Niamey, who actually, by the way, was here at the and Chargé. She's our ambassador there, and she engaged the Junta de Rao. It's not for me to speak to them, but the general message that I think ECOWAS has articulated very clearly is that there must be a return to constitutional order in Niger. It has to be in a tenor. It can't drag on forever. We want to try and achieve that through.
Okay. As we wind down on station, let's bring it home. How many Nigerian food have you tried?
Oh, wow.
Let's go.
Gosh, a lot. We all.
Okay.
I was lucky when I first arrived in August. We had a mini yam festival. I got to try a variety of different yam dishes. So the names with the yam dipped in egg fried. That's a pretty tasty. I'm definitely fan of jollof rice and fried chicken.
Okay.
I don't know how far your listening area is. I know it can be controversial outside of Nigeria's border.
No, that's with our guys in Ghana.
In Senegal, right?
And they know that we're brothers.
I like Nigerian jollof.
Good. I would Aisha to make sure that you try amala.
Yeah. No, I've had amala.
You've had amala. It's a good place to end the show. I mean,
Suya, by the way. Big fan.
That's it. I mean, I don't know about David Green, a Nigerian. I don't know what that name will be. A Nigerian. Aisha, do you have a suggestion? Nigerian name.
Well, you can bestow it on me the next.
Okay, so we should go think about it and give you.
Sure.
That's fine. Abuja, we've had a very interesting conversation with the Charge d'Affaires United States Ambassador David Green, who also doubled as the ambassador here in Nigeria. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Look forward to another conversation with you.
Appreciate you having me on, Al. Good to meet you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Don't go anywhere. I will be right back. See if we can do some shout out today and make some people happy. Not forget, we'll keep you informed. Mr. President is to present 2023 today to the nation before he also leave the country, Dubai. So let's see how it goes. We'll bring all the details of that later on. My name is Effizy. Still me right back. I don't know what song should we play. Is Burna Boy?
I think Burna Boy.
Burna Boy.
Yeah.
City Boy. So we'll play the City Boy. Yeah. Abuja.